as we talk about online instruction, I wanted to walk us through making a score follow video, which can be useful in your instruction as you work with choirs, maybe even bands and other disciplines, as we're teaching virtually at the moment. And a score follow video allows us to do two things. One, we don't have to send PDF copies of our music to our students, which can get us into some copyright issues. And number two, our students can just have one device as they follow along with us, rather than having to have the music open on an iPad and then have their phone or their computer to be on the call with us. But we can all just be looking at the same thing at the same time, which is great as a teacher. And so the first thing you'll need to create this score follow video is a PDF copy of the music, hopefully a pretty clean copy. What you want to do is make JPEG pictures of each individual system. Now if I tried to put this whole 8.5 by 11 piece of music on the screen, it's going to be hard to see, it's going to be super small, and so we want to scale it down into more manageable sections. Now you can do this in your video editing software. They do have ways to crop pictures in there, but I kind of like to work in an assembly line fashion and kind of do everything I need to do for this particular thing and then move on to editing the video, and I think it just kind of organizes you a bit better. And so what we can do is we can just simply take a screenshot. I'm sure you all know how to do that. And this is a system I'm talking about, right? Just one line of piano and choir music. You can see why it gets a little more challenging with a band if you have a larger score, but for choir it's a simpler process. And so I'm just going to take a screenshot of that system, and then I would do the same with the next system and so on for each page. Now the only thing I would say, the screenshot shows up on my desktop, but you can see it's 132 kilobytes, so it's not that big of a file. Now when I normally do this myself, I use Photoshop, or you can use other free software that comes with your computer, but I open the PDF in that photo editor and then crop it down and save it as a JPEG, and you can see as I've done that, it makes a larger file size, so 365, more than double the size of the screenshot. And so it's just going to come a little bit clearer, especially as you're zooming in. You can see the screenshot starts to get a bit grainy, whereas the cropped picture in my photo editing software looks a lot better. So like I said, you can just take a screenshot if that's what you know how to do, and it's super simple and it's not going to be the end of the world, but you get a little bit better quality if you do it in your photo editing software. So you can see I've got page 1, system 1, page 1, system 2. So there's a little bit of labeling involved, but like I said, you've kind of set yourself up to then make the video editing side of things a lot faster rather than doing this in the video software. So once you have all of your systems ready to go, you can open up your video editing software. I normally use Premiere. It just gives me a little bit more capabilities, but you can do this in iMovie, which is what I'm going to show you today, or similar software that you might have on a PC. So the next thing you're going to need is an MP3 of the demonstration track. And a lot of our Salvation Army music, they put out demo tracks for all the new music, and so you have all this at your fingertips really. And so you can see I put the audio track into iMovie, and it's down here on my timeline. And now I'm going to take all those systems and just drag them over here as well. And so they should be in order because I've labeled them that way. So I can drag this down here. Then you just have to come up here to the crop, because I think typically it just does this Ken Burns thing, but I'm just going to put fit. So you'll have to do that in each of your pictures. And then if I drag it back, you can see it's ready to go. And then I just follow along with the music. Now that's about where that line finishes, so I need to drag my picture out, and it just does it automatically, right? And so I want to get, as close as I can, and then put my next piece of music, my next system right here at the end of that one. And then I got to go back and do that crop thing here, get rid of Ken Burns, but just do fit, right? And so I'm just going to listen to the music and line it up with the track as I go. And drag the music longer if it needs to be, or shrink it down if it's too long. Now you can do like little transitions if you want. Probably the most popular one would be like page curl to make it look like you're following, right? So I can put that right there between these two. But I don't know, to me it's just a bit distracting. So I don't really do transitions like that. I just kind of let it go without transitions so their eye can follow it quickly. There are, of course, some higher tech ways to do this. You can add in systems so they can see the next system coming and things like that, but it just really takes a lot of time and this is already pretty time intensive as it is. So I think this is kind of the simplest way you can do it for now. And then the other suggestion I would have for you is go ahead and export your full video, which has the full run through, which is great. But what I've done also is, after I've done that, then I'll go ahead and kind of find the first section of the piece. It might be verse 1, and I'll delete everything after that, and then I will export just that verse. And then I'll, Control Z to undo all that deleting, and do verse 2 and delete what's around that. Just export verse 2. Control Z and undo that, and then I'll go just section by section. So once you've done the whole video together, it's pretty easy then to go back and just export individual sections. And that way when you're running your rehearsal, you don't have to kind of scroll through the video to find verse 1 or to find the chorus that you want to work on, but you have those individual videos. And so I can kind of show you in this. Once I've put it all together, you can see here's my full video that is 4 minutes long, but then I've got just verse 1, label the measure numbers, and you can see now it's just going to start 40 seconds of this particular section. Here's the coda, here's the first chorus, here's the bridge and the new key. So it just kind of labels all the different sections of the piece, so you can pull those up in your video conference and be ready to go quickly rather than scrolling through the whole thing. So this is a time-intensive project, particularly with the learning curve of editing the photos, editing the videos, and that kind of thing. But after a while, it'll probably take you about 30 minutes to an hour to put together each piece you're working on. So maybe a little more time than you normally prepare for rehearsals, but at the same time, you're listening to the piece a lot more, you're viewing the music as you put together the clips. And so it's allowing you to kind of prepare as well and figure out what you're actually going to need to work on. If you're not into video editing and you don't have that skill set, you can simply just show the music and scroll through it and press play on your audio recording. So there is that as well, and I've seen some rehearsals like that. But this just gives you a little more preparation and have things queued up right away. So I'd encourage you to give this a shot and see if you can get the hang of it, and really put that investment into your choir or the other music groups you're working with during this time, so that you can still have some interaction and have some rehearsal and continue music making together in that fellowship.